without the ductility, strength is useless. I repeat, without the ductility, strength becomes useless. Yeah. So let's say, for example, what is strength and the ductility parameter? Strength is something, you consider the effect of, for example, the diamond. It gives a lot of crushing strength, huge, right? But is it a ductile material? No. Infinity load you are giving, actually, it will get crushed in the fragmented form, right? Ductile means what, actually? There would be some amount of, yielding will happen, some amount of strain that will be developed, okay, before it, gets detached from its original, parent material. That is known as the ductility. Why the ductility is very important in the structure? Because whenever actually there is a lateral force, that's why a special criteria is given in the code. Actually, and separate code also has been written, which is IS 13920, which is the ductile detailing code. Whenever you want something special, a moment resisting framing system, how do we do that? What are the parameters that you will consider? Those parameters would be encrypted in this particular code, IS 13920 code. So there are various norms are there. What should be the width of the column? What should be the width of the beam? Minimum width of the beam? What is the top steel, bottom steel requirement? There are some norms actually. You cannot give 150 mm main primary columns or the beams. Yeah, you should give minimum 200 to 230 actually. Yeah. That much amount of width is minimum required. Why? Because otherwise the congestion of reinforcement that will happen. Yeah, within 150 you cannot put the third bar. Actually, even 2 bars if you are putting, it won't give you that much amount of ductility. Like that, so many other norms are there. Minimum whatever the top steel is there, 50% should be there bottom. Okay, wherever the bottom steel is major, actually 50% you should give the top steel. So various norms are there. It's a very good code actually. Just go through it. Yeah, 13920 revision code also has come. Yeah. So this is regarding the R value, response reduction value, or the ductility parameter. Yeah. So primarily, this ductility parameter will resist the earthquake force. Yeah. It is not like the earthquake force is coming and building will start vibrating along in junction with the ground motion. That's why the R value is very, very important. Now, have you understood this? R value, Z value, I value, and R value. Then the next one is SA by G. What do you mean by SA by G? Spectral acceleration. Good. And just draw one diagram. What is this? Time period. In seconds. What is this? SA by G. What is the maximum value of SA by G? 2.5. Right? What is this curve? What is this curve? What is this curve? These are basically for the different type of profile of the soil, basically. This is the hard soil. This is the medium soil. This is the soft soil. Now, let's say SA by G, there is a time period, and this is the 2.5 value actually. So, what is this SA by G? Why not alpha, beta, gamma? We have the series of so many different, those symbols. Why SA by G? Spectral acceleration, yes, but what does that SA by G mean? Yeah, this is the parameter which changes with the time period. This is the parameter which changes with the type of soil profile. Okay. See, this is some particular parameter you are going to give in this. There is nothing very big rocket science. Trust me. Yeah, this is some particular parameter actually which you are going to plug into this particular matrix. Yeah. So what is that SA by G mean? Do you think that during the event of earthquake, the gravity is zero? Why we are calling SA by G? That's the answer I am trying to tell you. During the event of earthquake, what is earthquake?
It's a seismological wave. It's a seismological
Yeah,
wave.
imagine that everybody, what is the best, let's say for example, I try to give you a little more example actually. Time period. There is a time period, there are so many things which are related to the derivative integration and I'll try to simplify as much as possible. So let's say for example, S is known as the displacement. What is ds by dt?
Differential.
Yeah, it is a velocity. Right? What is dv by dt? It is a acceleration. So whenever we are considering that spectral acceleration, we are dealing with some derivatives, the double derivatives for the displacements, right? So at some particular moment of time, how much the excitation is happening? That's what it is. Again, I'll try to tell you. Let us say, for example, SA by G value. So everybody, what is the best example of acceleration? Anybody? Gravity. Is there anybody who is not experiencing the gravity? Everybody is experiencing. That's why it is constant phenomenon everywhere. Yeah. Imagine that some particular person has got the neurological problem. Immediately will do like this. What will happen? You will see, oh my God, something has happened wrong. Right? So the acceleration is there, but some more percentage of vibration has started. Right? So during the event of earthquake, do you think that the buildings are getting excited? What is the percentage more than the earthquake? That's what it is important. Yeah, I got the increment. Yeah, and my salary. How much percentage is important? How much percentage marks you got it? So percentage of increment above the gravity is what the SA by G. So gravity is anyway there. Right? So spectral acceleration with respect to the time actually. That's why this is known as, it's not for alpha, beta, gamma, omega and all actually. It is the spectral excitation, percentage wise it is more than the gravity. Okay. When it goes to certain time period, the excitation based on the soil properties, you will get certain figure over here. Maximum figure it will not go more than 2.5. It will come here to find out how much percentage of this would be there and the weight will be multiplied for that. Now what, have you understood this SA by G? What do you mean
So
by
like
that?
the excitation will never exceed 2.5% of
Yes.
it will always be less than that.
It will be always less than that.
Even for
So the
highest
factor,
speed
yeah,
of
so the
wind.
factor would be, not more than 2.5. It will be, lesser than that. This is the, related to all the international codes also. This particular factor actually doesn't go more than 2.5. Understood? So Z by 2 into I by R into SA by G. So Z is the zone factor, I is the impedance factor, R is the response reduction factor. SA by G is based on the with respect to the gravity, how much more excitation is happening for a particular soil type. So that is that spectral acceleration parameter that you will give it here. That will be multiplied by W. Now what is W means?
Seismic weight.
Seismic weight of the building. The seismic weight of the building, it is generally 1 times 0 plus 0.25 times line load, or 1 times 0 plus 0.5 times line load. In this case, if line load is less than 3 kilonewton per meter square, in this case it is if the lie load is more than 3 kilonewton per meter square. Okay. Why this particular parameter is given?
For different types of buildings, like the building.
Yes. Why this particular parameter is given? During the event of earthquake, do you think that the entire, let's say for example, earthquake has come here. Do you think that we will take this projector, all the furniture and go on the road?
No.
Yeah. Some percentage of live load will be lumping onto the structure. Am I right? Yeah. So what is the seismic weight? Seismic weight is, let's say for example, this is the building actually. There would be some percentage of total dead weight and some percentage of it is the live load, the dead load and live load. Dead load will be the self weight, dead load would be the floor finish, dead load will be the flooring tiles, the walls and all actually it will be intact with the structure. That is during the event of earthquake will be lumping onto the structure. But when it comes to the live load is something, it is a movable load. Live load is something which is, going to be for the people who are going to facilitate that particular structure over the period of time. So that is not going to lump onto the structure. What is lumping actually? Lumping is something, if the earthquake has come, do you think that, let's say earthquake wave has come this way. So are we going to push this wall that way? No. Right? Because of us, do you think that the lumping or the force on the building will acting on the same direction more? Is it going to be that way? No. Right? If the earthquake has come, we will try to, we will vibrate inside. Okay, but that will not carry a lumping mass to the structure. That's why only some percentage of live load is considered. If you take the other international UBC 97 and other codes actually, the live load parameter in the seismic mass is 0. Okay. Yeah, only in the Indian code actually we are specifying this 25% of the seismic mass into the contribution of this particular W. Are you getting my point? Yes. If the live load is less than 3, it is 25%. Live load is more than 3, it is 50%. Now, what are the things we should mention in the live load? Let's say, for example, I still remember certain projects that I've done, pharmaceutical projects I've done in Mysore, for example. Yeah. So in that case, various big hoppers were there. Yeah. Huge amount of equipments and the machineries was there. What is that actually? Is it a part of the dead load or live load? Live load? It will be a part of the dead. Why? Because during the event of earthquake, do you think that you will take all the machineries and take it out? Is it possible? Yes. The machineries are actually bolted tight like this. Yeah, anchored properly. Huh? So during the event of earthquake, that also will lump to the structure. What is dead load and live load? Try to understand it. A dead is 1.5, live is 1.5. Yeah, there is no difference. Yeah, you are not working in America. Yeah, because in American code 1.2 times dead load plus 1.7 times live load. You are not working in Europe. Wherein, let's say, BS code, if you are going 1.4 times dead load and 1.6 times live load. So, pattern of dead load, live load contribution to the strength design combinations are different. But in India, 1.5 times dead load, 1.5 times live load. Why are you defining dead load separately and live load separately? Correct? No. It is a load. The differentiation comes only at this place, my dear. Yeah? Because entirely the dead load will be acting to the structure whenever the earthquake is coming, actually. Only some portion of the live load will be contributed whenever there is an earthquake is coming, not the entire live load. That's why the differences are there in the dead and in the live. Another difference is when it comes to the creep, long-term creep and those parameters actually. One load is a sustained load for the creep analysis. Another load is the moving load actually. And that is not the sustained load. Sustained load means what? It will be just there throughout the life of the structure. Tiling, flooring, walls, major walls. Yeah? Self-weight. Are you going to unload it? Yeah? This is the happy birthday of this building. Let's, do the propping. Yeah, let it be relaxed for one day. Yeah? Is it going to be possible? Yes?
For parking structures, then what we are supposed to do?
Yeah, for parking structures, actually there are various norms. To be very honest, if you go to the UBC 97 clause, okay, the lie load of the parking, you should not be contributed to the seismic weight of the building at all. That's per Indian code actually. See, let's say for example, this is a very good question. So many people they ask me this kind of questions. Because sorry. So let's say for example, live load actually it would be more than 3 in some places actually. So do you want to consider 50% of live load? Yeah. See what happens is, let's say earthquake has come. Do you think that the car will acting a load to the structure? Is it really going to make a sense? Yeah. Some people will say that the car is, handbrake is, if it is on, okay, then it will act. If it is off, it will not act. Is it going to be that way? Yeah, come on, be real. Yeah, whenever the earthquake comes as a big jerk, actually, the car will do like this. It will not act a lumping mass to the structure. Correct? Am I right? Let's say water tank. Okay, water tank, for example, if the water is there, yeah, it will act like a damper. It will act like a damper. If the earthquake is moving in this direction, the water will try to resist it. It will go in the other direction. It will act like a natural damping system to the structure. Am I right? Yeah. So whenever we are giving actually the load, give it sensibly actually. Yeah. Don't directly take the copy and paste of the code. Okay. Some people they say that no, live load is like this. The code is actually a guideline given to the people. No, you have to take the properly meaningful actually way out of this. Don't take the literal way out of it. Yeah, because there are some people that they design the podium and other structures for a very heavy live loads. Let's say once in a blue moon, actually, you will have the case where the building is under fire. So that fire extinguishing, that truck will come inside the building. So that itself is a big live load. Are you going to design the building for that live load and part of it will be a seismic mass? No. Right? Yeah. So how much probability will be there that the building is under fire and big truck is coming and it is trying to remove the fire and an earthquake has happened? So let's be real. Yeah. Yeah, so don't take such kind of fancy things in your mind to whenever we are designing the earthquake resistant structures, right? So that's how actually it happens. Yeah. So let's say, have you understood Z by 2 into I by R into A? So this is some percentage of W is going to act on the structure. Yeah, it is such that. Let's say what is the weight of this actually? Yeah, can I borrow this? Yeah, this is better. This looks like a building. Yeah. Yeah, this is a good building. Yeah, so let's say for example there is some amount of weight to this structure actually. Yeah, so some percentage of weight it is acting horizontally whenever the ground motions are happening. Huh? One more thing is, some people they say that earthquake is there in the X direction, it is there in Y direction, it is there in Z direction. Yeah? X, Y, Z. Yeah. So let's be real actually. Let's say for example earthquake has happened. Yeah, the building will vibrate in this direction or it will vibrate in this direction. Like a basketball. It will be there in this direction only.
X and Z direction.
Correct, X and Y. It is never be there like this. Am I right?
Yeah, it is always thought. Yeah, Z direction is
So Z direction actually which is given in the code, which is for the very, very idle location, probably. If it is a steel structure or very lightweight structure, that time it might be okay. But majorly for the RCC structures, high-rise buildings and all, the building will never vibrate like this. So So there will be U1, U2 when it comes to the dynamic analysis. There will not be U3 at all. If you are giving it, that is a mistake that you will be doing it. Because that kind of vibrations will never happen in the structure. Got my point? Yes? Yeah? So these are the areas that you need to consider. One more thing is static analysis and dynamic analysis. You know that two types of analysis are there. One is what? Static. Another one is what? Dynamic. Yeah, which analysis is more accurate? Huh? When it comes to the E-types, actually you will perform the static analysis, you will perform the dynamic analysis also. Yeah. Static analysis also, it will give you some amount of PV bar. Dynamic analysis also, it will give you some amount of VB, which is the horizontal base shear. What is horizontal base shear actually? Some of you are, very, very new to this actually. See, this is the force acting onto the structure. Okay. If you take the summation, this is, let's say for example, Ex 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is what? Summation of Ex. This is known as base shear. Got my point? There is a formula that WHI upon WHS, summation of WHS square, based on that actually this force contribution will happen. Base shear means the total summation of force acting on the structure horizontally. Is it hard to believe? This is the building actually. Whenever the ground motions are happening, how much percentage the building or how much force acting on the building horizontally? That is a base shear. It will happen in the earthquake force also. It will happen in the wind force also. Whenever earthquake happens, the ground motion will happen. Okay. Whenever the wind will be there, actually, the wind will be exerted on the structure, and that's how the horizontal forces will be there. Right? So let us say. You just have a seat. Yeah, go.